Welcome everyone to the Unstoppable You podcast with your host Gabby Company. Today my guest is the beautiful Fiona Demark. She is an author, a speaker, resilience coach. Her story is amazing. Even though she is blind, she cannot stop. She never give up. You are going to enjoy her story. Welcome to the podcast, Fiona. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. For me, it's an honor to have you. When I read your story, I was so excited and motivated to have you. Before we go deep into that topic, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Grew up in far western New South Wales in a town called Broken Hill, and was diagnosed as being legally blind right pretty much from birth. I do have an older sister who has the same condition, so my parents were able to identify that I also was going to have the same symptoms when I was quite young. However, having said that, it was a very resource poor location, and so we kind of just had to think outside of the square a lot of the time because there wasn't a lot of adaptive technology or specialised systems for the schooling. And so it was just a matter of working my way through the world and I guess setting goals, and a lot of the time there were lots of big challenges, and I have been very lucky in the sense that I've been able to overcome all of those things and now work as my own business and help other people to overcome their own challenges.
Oh, amazing. How is your daily life, Fiona?
Most of the time I manage really well, and again it's about adapting, and there's lots of things that I do in my house that quite often I don't even think about the fact that I'm doing them differently. However, having said that, there are always those little extra tricky things that come along, and that's when I have had to learn to ask for help. And it did take a long time to be able to say, you know what, I actually need some help with this particular thing. And look, I've been very lucky in that I've got a very supportive husband and a good support network around me to be able to assist with those things that I can't do myself.
Amazing. Behind a beautiful woman, there is a great man.
Absolutely.
And vice versa as well.
So true.
I know you are an author. What made you write your book, and what's the name of your book?
So the book is called Broken Hill, and essentially it is a bit of a backstory of my teenage years and some of the challenges that I faced during my teenage years. It's something that I think gives people the understanding of where I'm at now, and also an understanding that, you know, bad stuff can happen to all of us, but we always do have that ability to think differently and overcome those challenges.
Yeah, that's right. How do you maintain a mindset of overcoming fear? Because fear always can be in front of us.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're all fearful of things, and it's a natural instinct. It's like that, you know, that caveman kind of part of us that says, don't do that because it might be unsafe. But in essence, being a little bit unsafe is actually not such a bad thing, because we all like to sit in our comfort zone. But if we do that, we don't grow. And so going and facing those fears and stepping outside of your comfort zone just a little bit means that then you have better outcomes, and when you achieve those things, you're even prouder because you didn't think that you could do them.
That's right, because fear is not going to disappear.
No.
Always fear will be here, and it's important. That's the beauty, because we can face that and grow, as you are saying. Pardon me. Also, I know you are an adventurer. And let me read, because there is a big list of the things that you did, doing, and probably doing more. You do polo dancing, oh my God, paddle boarding, fly alpine, bungee jumping, exercise at the gym, abseiling big rock, jet skiing safari, and so much more. Let's talk about pole dancing. How do you manage to do this, please?
It was something that I got into during COVID, and it was something that I decided to do because I had a little bit of poor mental health at the time, as many of us did at that period of lockdowns and all of those things. And so I'd always wanted to dance, and I thought pole dancing was the perfect arrangement because it meant that I didn't have to rely on a partner. I didn't have to rely on anything moving except for myself because the pole's always in that stationary position. And it's been something that's really enabled me to build confidence. And so I sort of thought, oh, pole dancers are these little sort of, young people that are really skinny and really fit. And it turns out that anybody can do it if you put your mind to it, but it is a bit of a challenge, and that's why I really love it, because it's not just about fitness, it's about being brave enough to let go at the times that you need to just rely on the fact that gravity will take over.
How do you manage the distance, the movement when you do the pole dancing?
It's about having really good spatial awareness. And look, there's times where I think, oh, I'm going to grab the pole and it's suddenly not there and I've got to kind of readjust. But the other thing is having a really good instructor, because in most dance classes, instructors show you how to do things. So in my instance, my instructor actually has to tell me how to do everything and then sort of give me extra guidance where I need to sort of move to one way or the other way. And so having a really good instructor that I trust is also really important.
Yes, that's right, that's true. Could you tell, please, what happens when they want to be visible, they want to do things, they want to be in TikTok, because you are very active in different social medias, especially in TikTok. Please follow her. Her videos in TikTok is not just okay, they are amazing, amazing. So what would you say to people that they are willing to be visible, putting something in social media, but it's still stopping because other people's opinions, or because they say, oh no, this is for me, I don't want to do this, I don't want to show this. But I think it's some kind of limitation. What would you say?
Yeah, I think, look, you've just got to show up, and it's not always going to be perfect, and we've got to realise that not everyone wants perfect. In fact, social media is actually better sometimes when it's not perfect. And sometimes I will put my bloopers up and go, oh, look, this one didn't turn out quite the way we wanted it to. But it's also about showing that authentic side of yourself. And if everything's polished and perfect and you wait until you've got everything just the way you want it, then, maybe that's not going to be as appealing. Sometimes having that trust in the fact that people are probably going to judge you one way or the other, regardless.
Always.
Exactly.
Always.
So it's like, just put it out there and be brave. And look, it will get better. Trust me, if you look back at my really early social media posts, I had no idea what I was doing. And to some extent, sometimes still don't. But it's just about just giving it a go and seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Just do it. Always there will be people against you, and loving you is how it is when you are visible.
Yep.
And that's okay.
And I guess, the other essence in the back end of that is, don't take on board those people that are naysayers and the people that are going to sort of try and shoot you down, because as long as you know that you're putting your authentic self out there, then, what somebody else has to judge about that shouldn't really be important.
Yeah, one video I watched, it was about assuming. You've been holding the cane, and people can say, okay, I assume she's blind. But then when you are walking without a cane, they assume you are not. How interesting is people can assume things.
Absolutely. And look, I think as human beings, we like to assume things because it makes it easier for our brain. We like to put things in little boxes and go, okay, well, now I understand it because I can put it in a box and give it a label.
Yeah.
And, it's not always like, life is full of black and white and lots of grey in between.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's true. And also there is a difference when we are visible is showing up and showing off. I can say, oh, look at this beautiful tree, it's very expensive, I pay for this $200. Or I can say, oh, look at this, it's a beautiful tree, it's making me more alive, more energetic, whatever it is. One thing is showing up and another thing is showing off.
Absolutely. And look, I think it's about sharing those experiences maybe with people that don't necessarily know what that experience is like for themselves. And so to be able to show up and say, hey, you know what, like this is something that I've experienced and it's really great. And rather than saying, oh, okay, well, this is something that I've spent lots of money on, or this is an experience that I've had that you won't have.
That's true. I'm aware your business is offering trainings, programs, mentoring, coaching. What's the difference between mentoring and coaching for people that they don't know?
For me, I think mentoring is something that is done as a side-by-side kind of exercise, where it's someone that's already been there and done that and experienced that and has the skills to pass on to somebody else. Where coaching is more delving into what somebody wants to achieve, and so it's a separate thing in the sense of lots and lots of questions and accountability and pushing somebody a little bit sometimes outside of that comfort zone to think differently and to move them forward with their goals. And so it's not necessarily someone who's been there and done the same thing, but someone that has the capacity to be able to encourage somebody to move forward with what their dreams are.
Yeah, that's true. Could you tell us, please, about your business, what your business is offering to the market?
So I do lots of different bits and pieces. I work one-on-one with people doing individual coaching around resilience and goal setting and motivation. Within that, I do work very much so with NDIS clients, however, work with public as well. So it's sort of a bit of a separate thing. Obviously, having a disability myself, I've got a bit of lived experience to be able to give a different perspective for people with disability. I also run training and workshops for people around inclusion and diversity, resilience building, ability thinking, so about thinking from a positive mindset rather than thinking from a negative mindset, and also do keynote speaking and professional speaking for community groups, corporates, lots of different bits and pieces in there. So I'm very, very busy, and I like it because it is very diverse. Like I spend a lot of time doing lots of different things.
Amazing. How can people contact you?
Best way is via my website, which is fionademark.com.au. And then, as we mentioned, I am all over the socials, so that's the other way to reach out and follow me and learn a little bit, not only about what I do from a work perspective, but it is a little bit about sharing that authentic side of me. And so you'll see me doing the pole dancing and some of the other adventures and lots of the other bits and pieces that I get up to.
Yeah, amazing. Before we finish, please, could you give a message to people out there? They are suffering any kind of mindset issues, or they are willing to do things, but for any reason they stop.
I think the biggest thing is to be kind to yourself. We quite often are stuck in that negative mindset where we think about all the bad stuff and don't focus on the good things. And always remembering that the things that you're telling your inner self, you probably would never say to somebody else. So sort of have that self-check and say, hey, would I say this to somebody else? And if the answer's no, then check the reality of it and see whether it's something that you should be telling yourself. Because not only often are we judgmental of other people, we're most judgmental of our own selves.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you for being in my podcast. I really appreciate it. It's an honor for me to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was Gabby Company in Melbourne, Australia. See you next time. Bye-bye.